welcome back to the channel. Grave Visitations here. So I'm here in the old church ruin and cemetery in Cobh, County Cork, and I'm going to take you around and have a look at some of these monuments and headstones and well-known graves here in the area. So the first grave I'm going to take you over to today on the channel is the grave of Dr. James Verling. James Verling was born in Cobh on the 27th of February 1787 and was the second son of John Verling and Eleanor Roach. He began his medical career in Dublin, and on the 12th of December 1809 he graduated as a Doctor of Medicine at Edinburgh University at the age of 23. He got a commission in the army on the 25th of January 1810 and was stationed at Ballincollig here in Cork. He later was appointed to the Royal Artillery and was sent to Portugal for the Peninsular War. He was next promoted to surgeon and was ordered to St. Helena. On the 8th of August 1815 he sailed on the Northumberland as it carried Napoleon into exile. On St. Helena he was appointed surgeon to Napoleon. He left St. Helena on the 25th of April 1820 and served in Malta, the Ionian Islands, and then in Nova Scotia. Promoted up to ranks, he became Inspector General in 1854. On retirement, he returned to Cobh and resided in Bella Vista, where he died on the 1st of January 1858. So the first grave here in this beautiful graveyard I'm going to take you over to today is the grave of Dr. Verling. The graveyard is amazing. It's really old. In the 1800s, I think it was founded. Now I'm not sure about that, but I'll put some details up about that. There's a lot of chest tombs in the old graveyard and some amazing headstones with carvings on them and inscriptions. Now this is the old church ruin here. Was the old church in the graveyard, and there we see one of the old headstones leaning up against the old church wall, and you can see the anchor on it there. And some of them are quite hard to read, so I'm going to give this one a go and try and read what this one says. And it says, in the Royal Navy, who quitted this world for a better, on January 1820. And it's kind of hard to read. Now, whether I can see that in edit or not, I don't know. But I'll try and give it a go and edit and see what it reads, because it's very interesting, that headstone. See the box tombs down here, or chest tombs. Jane Meredith, died April 1891, age 73. William Meredith, Paymaster, Royal Navy. We have this lovely one here as well. Sacred to the memory of Henry Benson, died the 14th of December 1871, age 18 years and 9 months. So Henry, only a young man, interred at this grave. And it just says on the other side of it here, William, who died in aged 86 in September, and the ivy's kind of covering it there. So this is inside the old church. And you can see the lovely writing that's on the headstones. (1698) is the date on that one. Now this is the final resting place here of Reverend Charles Wolfe. And he was a famous writer. And that picture frame you see there was a poem inside of that, and it has now gone off it. So hopefully they will replace that poem that was on it. And he was a famous writer. It's a beautiful old church inside the grounds here. You can see there's some on the ground as you walk in. Tabletop tomb. And then we have this one here with all the wrought iron railing all around it. And this one says, sacred to the memory of the Reverend T. Edmund Nash, rector of Macroom, for 16 years, curate of this parish. He died March 21st, 1853, aged 61 years old. And just on the other side of the monument there, it says, in memory of Anna Maria, wife of Reverend Nash, died in 1871, aged 63 years old. It's a really nice monument there for the Nash family. Now this area here is closed off due to maybe fallen debris and stuff like that. You mightn't be safe. But you can see the plaques on the wall there, memorial plaques. So that's the inside of the old church. And now there's lots more to see in the graveyard here. And this one here says on the wall, here light the body of Anne, wife to John Boyd, who departed this life December the 6th, Anno Domini 1723, age 44 years old. So as you know, we're in Cobh. We arrived here yesterday and got some videos in, and the area is just absolutely stunning and rich in history, and we really enjoyed the area. Elizabeth Ann, Countess of Huntington, born in May 1817 and died in February 1857, aged 39 years old. So that's Elizabeth there, a countess. That's Elizabeth's tomb there. You can see some of the fine detail on these tombs. Kind of looks like either a line, I think that looks like. So I'm going to take you over to see the final resting place of Dr. Verling, who I was telling you about there at the start of the video. And just this one here, this red brick monument, is the final resting place of Dr. Verling, who was a surgeon to Napoleon Bonaparte in St. Helena. And I'm hoping with the flashlight here I'll be able to read this for you. James Verling, medical doctor, FRCS, born 1787 and died at Bella Vista, Cork, 1858. And you can just see there, official surgeon to Napoleon on St. Helena, 1818 to 1819. So he was 1 year in St. Helena as official surgeon and doctor to Napoleon, the famous emperor. And it's the vault here of the family, and you can see just here where the entrance of the vault would have been. I'm going to see, can I read what's on the plaque at the entrance of the vault. Erected 1833, it says on the plaque there, on the vault. So if I can get my gimbal just inside here, we can read this also. This is on the other side here of the monument. The family sepulchre of Bartholomew Verling, Esquire, of Cobh, and of his wife Ellen Clarissa, only daughter of the late Dominic Waters, Esquire of Cork, 1833. This is just another bit of history there, guys. You never know what you're going to come across in these old graveyards and the history that goes with it. Sculpture, or sorry, a surgeon and doctor of Napoleon. And he came from County Cork here. It's really amazing. Some fine monuments. There's another one there. So there you have it, guys. You've heard it here first on Grave Visitations. A little bit of history. So I've come across this headstone here. And there's a symbol on it there, and maybe with the torch I might be able to see. And it looks like an eye. An eye symbol that's on that. And then you have the mason, the symbol of the mason here. Now, and it says, here lies the body of William Knowles, sailmaker from Liverpool, who was drowned at Cobh, (1818), 32 years old. Wow. So William Knowles, who was a sailmaker, so made sails for boats. And he was from Liverpool, and he drowned here in Cobh in 1813, I think that is. So that's a fine headstone there. 1813. Young man drowned here in Cobh, a sailmaker, and he was from Liverpool. More history. More amazing history in this old graveyard. So we'll read a couple more as we go around. I think there's some over the other side of the graveyard here that I want to show you. The weather is dry today, sun is shining again. Our dear brother Henry Hardy, who died in 1892, aged 77. The lilies on that, and a little scroll on it. So we'll go over that direction over there, but first of all, there is a monument here engraved that I want to show you, and it's this one here. Now, I was speaking to a man last night, and he's a local man here who has some knowledge of the graveyard and the history, and he was telling me about this monument here in the grave. Now, there's a story behind it, and the man that used to, give tours here in the graveyard of the history and stuff like that has sadly passed away a number of years ago, and the local historian, and he's actually buried here in the graveyard, and he told me that he heard the story was about this monument here is that the back of the monument just down here if you notice, has a piece of it here that's able to be taken off like a jigsaw and can be just placed back in again. And now the reason for that, he was telling me, is this monument was shipped from America over here to Cork for this person's grave. And the reason the piece of stone was taken away, as I just showed you, is for tax purposes. He was telling me that when this monument was shipped from America to Ireland, in order to avoid paying taxes for the monument, the story goes, is that a piece of the stone was cut out of the monument. So, in other words, the monument being shipped to Ireland, there wouldn't be any taxes paid on it because it was damaged goods. So that's the story behind the monument, which I found very interesting. I've never heard of that before. And it says on it, pray for the soul of Gabriel Coyd Anek, born at Lusitania, Austria, 19th March 1833, and he died at Queenstown, which was called Queenstown back in the day. It's now Cobh, in 1885. And there's a lovely anchor on it there, and the Sacred Heart, I'd imagine, there as well. So that's the story behind that monument that the man was telling me about. Lovely urn. So I'm going to find the graves. I done a live here yesterday, and I done some graves on the live, so I promised a few people in the comments that I would actually come back and do a video on the graveyard here. So I came back to do a proper video and show you the graves. And one of the graves is just over here, and it's a beautiful headstone, and it's actually a new headstone. It's not the original headstone, but it's a new one. And I'm sorry about the shadow today, guys, with the sun, but it says here, in loving memory of Euphemia Burke, who died November 1905, aged 9 years old. Her mother, Agnes O'Neill, died in 1899, and also her father, John Patrick, died in 1910, rests in Wisham, Wales. And there's a lovely photograph here of little Euphemia Burke, who was only 9 years old. A porcelain picture here. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful little girl, and may she rest in peace. So the other grave that caught my eye yesterday as well on the live is this one just over here. And the reason I actually stopped on the live here yesterday was because of those beautiful lily flowers. And I stopped to look at the lilies, and I got even more amazing history from the headstone of this one. And you can see the beautiful lilies growing on it. And this one here says, in loving memory of Michael Glanville, his wife Johanna, their daughter Kathy, their grandson Kenneth, their sons Willie, Jimmy and John, old IRA, interred in the USA. Paddy was murdered by the British Army in Watford, aged 15 years old only. So that's sad, very, very sad. 15 years old, murdered by the British Army in County Watford. So rest in peace to all the family interred here. Now there's also a couple of headstones that some people were asking about that I would do a video, and that's the military headstones. So we'll definitely have a look at the military headstones before we finish up as well. A big holly bush around that is nice. Now, I found the grave with the photograph on it here of the Navy man, and it's this one just here, erected by Margaret Brierley in loving memory of her husband Thomas, who died in July 1920, aged 59. Also Margaret, our dearly loved mother, who died in 1927, aged 65. George died in 1948, aged 64 years old. But the picture on this grave is very, very much like Captain Smith, who was the captain of the Titanic. And you can just see on the photo there how he resembles the captain from the Titanic so much. It's amazing. A super headstone and a super picture that's on it. And one of my subscribers, and I apologise if I can't remember your name, but I will put your name in when I edit the video. And thank you for putting me the information in and under the live video I did of the man that's interred there on that grave. So we have one of the military headstones here. F. Taplin, Royal Army Medical Corps, who died in 1918. And there's a good number of military headstones in the graveyard here. And we'll start here. This one is T. Bond, Petty Officer, 1st CLRN, Royal Navy, I believe that is. HMS Ocean, who died in 1914, and the anchor's on it there. And we can see a number of them. And there's a line of military men all over here. W. Davy, leading boatman, HMS President, died the 31st of August 1916. Private J. Jackson, Royal Munster Fusiliers, 13th of March 1915. And you can see the Royal Munster symbol on it there. S. Holly, Seaman, HMS Colleen, 5th of December 1915. And there's a few from the HMS Colleen there, the same boat. We've seen this one yesterday, so I said I'd do it on a video again. There's the Maple Leaf of Canada, 81025, Private W. B. Arnold, 32nd Battalion Canadian Infantry, died 11th of May 1915. And there's those Canadian flags at his grave. So rest in peace, and thank you for your service. And we see on this one here, in loving memory of William Ledbetter, seaman of Fleetwood, Lancashire, who was accidentally drowned at Queenstown, which is in Cobh here, on February the 3rd, 1915, and was interred on the 8th of March 1915, aged 31 years old. So was accidentally drowned. Rest in peace, William. And I hope you're at peace now. So this is all the military gravestones here. There's just this white cross one here as well. In loving memory of Arthur Harold Williams of Pontardaw, South Wales, in the Royal Navy, who died at the Royal Navy Hospital, aged 24 years old, in 1917. And I see another headstone down here with more Canadian flags, so there's a lot of Canadian connection to Canada here. J. Doyle, Royal Garrison Artillery, died in 1914, aged 31 years old, and you can see the engravement there of the, looks like a cannon on that. 999 musician W.G. Chipchase, HMS Benbow, died the 15th of December 1914. So all these people had a different title on board the ships, and he was a musician. And we have gunners and all types. And here we have the Canadian flags again. Seaman J.A. Mahoney, Newfoundland RNR, HMT Lord Durham, died the 14th of October 1918. And there you have the logo on it there, Newfoundland, and the moose, the Canadian moose. And I'm not sure if this grave is part of a military family or not. But it says on this one here, in loving memory of David Noel Stanton, died in 1937, aged only 2 years and 4 months. His brother William died in 1940, aged 1 year old. And the 2 little angels on it. And how sad is that? Lost 2 small children, just 3 years apart. 2 years, 4 months and a 1 year old. 2 little boys. Rest in peace, little angels. So sad, you know, to see all these young people, servicemen, little children, lost their lives way too young. And unfortunately that's war, and it's part of history, and you know, that's the way it is. There's nothing can be done about it, unfortunately. This one here just under the tree says R. Murch, Royal Marine Light Infantry, 1921, age only 21 years old. We have the globe there and that. In memory of E. Goody, 3rd Battalion Essex Regiment, died in 19, and it's faded off there the year, unfortunately, aged 34 years old. This stone was erected by his comrades, it says. So some beautiful headstones there, guys. Some fitting tributes to all these young men who fought for their country. And they're not forgotten. They're certainly not forgotten today. And there's another military headstone here, and it's under all this tree. So I'll see, can I just have a read of this one under the tree. And this one here says A. Glazebrook, leading signalman, HMS Heather, died 1920, aged 23 years old. So that one was hidden under the trees. And they're the ones sometimes people forget about. That's kind of hidden away there, so I wanted to read that especially. And this is the overgrowth here. This is all the overgrowth here and the wild flowers. And I'm not sure, was it Cathy Cousins was asking me or somebody on the chat about the wild growth here to show it. So I'll just show you. There's one headstone that's broken here. Alexander MacDonald, leading seaman, age 26 years old, and his duty aboard HMS Devastation. So if anybody knows the name of that boat, the HMS Devastation. Right, so I found this one here as well, and you've probably seen this yesterday on my live, so I'm going to do it on the video here. Sacred to the memory of the officers and men of HM ship Mars, who lost their lives through a gun accident that occurred on board that ship on the 14th of April 1902, whilst at sea off the southwest coast of Ireland. And it says this monument was erected by the officers and men of HM ships Jupiter and Mars, and it's a lovely marble, I think it looks like, anchor on it and chain wrapping around the anchor there as well. Memorial, and we have a wreath of flowers there in the shape of an anchor, and the red poppies then near that. And we'll just read the names of the people who are interred here. Alfred Shipton, able seaman, died in 1902, 14th of April. Steptus G. Barnett, able seaman, April 1902, age 24. Ellis G. Collins, able seaman, April 1902, age 26 years old. So all these men died the same date and the same year. Frank Barton, age 23 years old. Thomas Porter, able seaman, age 23. Edward J.C. Brown, leading seaman, age 23 years old. And just at the end of the plot, we have Edwin Sutton, Chief ERA, age 34 years old. Now at the back of the plot, there's a headstone there. I'll try and zoom in as far as I can and show you. And that's Lieutenant James H.S. Byrne. James H.S. Byrne, Lieutenant R.N. the Royal Navy, died the 14th of April 1902, aged 29 years old. So at the very back of the plot then as well, we have Samuel J. Thomas, able seaman, died the 18th of April 1902, aged 23. So Samuel must have died 4 days after the rest of these men died. So I'm presuming he died from maybe his injuries. So there's another wreath of flowers here as well, on this side. You can see the lovely blue roses on them. And I'm sure that's from the Royal Navy. Now there's another plot just behind the seaman here. Able seaman's grave. and I'll try and read what it says on it. And I hope the torch will work on this. HM Submarine A5. Here lie 5 of the 6 victims of the eternal explosions that occurred on board HMS A5 at Queenstown on the 16th of February 1905. The body of the 6th victim, Sub-Lieutenant Frederick Charles Skinner, aged 21, was returned to Bedford for burial. Plaque and stone donated by INS, erected by RNA, Cork and County Branch. So all these men died on board a submarine. Explosion happened on the submarine in Cobh. And these are the graves of the men that died in the explosion on that submarine. Leading stoker Ernest Goldthorpe, aged 28 years old. First class William J. Pryor, aged 30 years old. Stoker Henry Davis, aged 24 years old, also the same year. First class Arthur Manley, aged 32 years old. And finally Charles Sinden, aged 33 years old. So that's another piece of history there in that plot. That submarine where all these men died, unfortunately very young. An explosion aboard the submarine A5. And I'll have to look that up. I'm sure that'll be very interesting to look into that. So guys, I think I will leave it at that. And I just want to say thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And maybe share the video. So from me, grave visitations here in Cobh County Cork at this historical old graveyard. I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you all on the next one, guys.